Hello everyone and welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video tutorial we're going to learn how to crochet step by step this beautiful hooded scarf. It's suitable for everyone, for children to adult size. This is why in the chart I'm giving you the stitches that you need for all sizes, okay? Because what this really is an infinity scarf with a hood. You can make it for adult by taking out the ears if you don't like them. You can make it single color or add the colors that you love. To make it for everyone. It's a really warm project. Okay, this is how it's in the back. Now I used about 1.5 skeins of each color. I show the colors, I show the yarn that I'm using in a few seconds. Now what I want to show you is in the chart that I'm giving you in the beginning, I'm giving you all the stitches that you need for every size. The only thing that I want you to do is, in order to know how to separate the stitches for the hood, okay, this is in Greek, sorry. So for each size, let's say for 1 to 3 years old, I'm saying that you need 96 chains to begin with. So this means that you're going to have 94 stitches in each row. Now, and I'm saying right here that for the hood you need 68 stitches to separate from your project. But in order to know which 68 stitches to separate, in order for the hood to fall right in the center of your piece, you're going to do 94 minus 68. You're going to take that result and divide it by 2, and the number that you'll get, it's the number of stitches you're going to leave uncrocheted in the one side and uncrocheted on the right side, and in the center you will do your stitches for, you're going to crochet the stitches for your hood. Now let's take an example, the next one that I'm doing. We have 106 chains, so this means 104 stitches minus the 76 stitches that I need for the hood. Take that result again, divide it by 2, and the number that you'll get are the stitches that you're going to leave uncrocheted on the left side, and the same number of stitches you're going to leave uncrocheted on the right side of the infinity scarf. And in the center you're going to start crocheting your 76 stitches that you need for the hood. I also show it when it's time to separate my stitches, but I really wanted to show you how to do it from the chart. Okay, this is the only equation that I need from you to do. It's very simple. Just so you have the correct number, you separate correctly your stitches for the hood. Okay, so now let's see how to start. Now before we start, let's see the material that we're going to use. I'm crocheting with Alizé Baby Best, which is an anti-peeling yarn. It's one of the best yarns you can use for children's crochet items. It's 90% acrylic and 10% bamboo. And each skein is 3.53 ounces and 262 yards. And I'm crocheting with a 4mm crochet hook. So now I have the chart in the beginning of the video on the number of chains that you need for each size and the total rows. But those stitches are with the gauge that I have made and with the yarn and crochet hook that I'm using. Now, because I know many of you are going to crochet with a different type, different size of yarn, let's see how to calculate the beginning chains that we need. So what we need to do firstly is to make a gauge. You might need to frog 1 or 2 times, but don't forget it's only a small piece. It's better to frog a small piece than the whole project all over and do it from the beginning, okay? So what my gauge states is that 20 stitches of the stitch that I'm using times 20 rows are going to give me a sample of 4 inches by 4 inches or 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So I need 20 stitches and 20 rows, and this applies only to the stitch that I'm using, the crochet hook, and the yarn that I'm using for this project, okay? I'm crocheting for a 3 to 6 years old child. My width of the infinity scarf needs to be 25 centimeters wide and 52 centimeters long. Now the beginning chain is going to start with the length, so I'm going to crochet the long part is going to be my chain, and as I go through the rows it's going to be the width of the infinity scarf. Okay, so because I need the length to be 52 centimeters, I'm going to take 52 and I'm going to multiply it by 20 because I need 20 stitches to reach the 10 centimeters. So 52 times 20 stitches, and I'm going to divide that by 10 because the 20 stitches gave me a 10 centimeter a 10 centimeter sample. Okay, so 52 times 20 equals 1040, and I'm going to divide that number by 10, and the result is 104. So I need 104 stitches to reach this length over here. Okay, so the 104 stitches, I'm going to add 2 more chains because these are the stitches, not the number of chains that we need. So I'm going to add 2 more because when I use the moss stitch to make a project, I need an even number of stitches will do for the crochet project. But because from the beginning chain that we do, we lose 2 chains in the first row. So if I need 104 stitches, I need 106 chains. So let's see a small sample on how to work the stitch and how to do the color changing. Okay, so I'm going to start with my pink, and I'm going to start with 10 chains, and we're going to think that those 10 chains are my 106. Okay, so start with your beginning knot and work 10 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So those 10 chains are my 106 that I need for this size. Okay, so I'm going to skip the first 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3. Put your hook in the 4th and work 1 single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, put your hook in the 2nd one and work 1 single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the 2nd one and work 1 single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the 2nd one, which is the last chain of the row, and work 1 single crochet. Okay, this is how row number 1 will look like. So now chain 2, and this is how all rows are going to start, always with a chain 2. Turn the work, and we are always going to be skipping the first single crochet and always going to be working in every chain 1 space from here on. Okay, work a single crochet in the first chain 1 space. Chain 1, put your hook in the chain 1 space and work a single crochet. Chain 1, put your hook in the chain 1 space and work a single crochet. Chain 1. Now skip the last single crochet and put your hook in those chains that we skipped in the beginning and we crocheted in the 4th chain. So under those chains, put your hook and work your last single crochet. Now, as I mentioned, from the beginning chain we lose 2 stitches. So from the 10 chains, I have 8 stitches from here on. So let's see, 1 stitch is the single crochet, 2 the chain, 3 the single crochet, 4 the chain, 5 the single crochet, 6 the chain, 7 the single crochet, and 8 is the chain space right here. So I have my 8 stitches. Now I'm going to frog my last stitch because I want to show how to do the color changing. So we're going to use the 2nd color now, and I'm going to put my hook under the same chain space. Okay, and instead of completing the single crochet with the pink, I'm going to bring up my new color. Okay, so take the new color and pull it through the 2 loops to complete the single crochet. So I have attached my new color, but the last single crochet still seems as if it's done with the pink color. Okay, so again, now chain 2, 1, 2, and turn your work. and we're going to be changing colors in every 2 rows. So again, we still keep working in every chain 1 space. Chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet under the chain 1 space, chain 1, and single crochet under the chain 2 space, which are the 2 chains that I always start my new row with. Okay, so this was my first row with gray. Now let's work the second row. 1, 2 chains, and turn your work. Now put your hook under the first chain 1 space and single crochet. Chain 1, single crochet under the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet under the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and single crochet under the last space, which is a chain 2 that we always start a row with. Now, I'm not going to finish my single crochet with the gray because I want to attach my new color. So I'm going to bring up the pink one and I'm going to take it through the last 2 loops. Okay, so the last stitch seems as if it's done with gray color, but I have attached my new color as well. So again, start with 2 chains, 1, 2, and turn your work. Single crochet under the first chain space, chain 1, single crochet under the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet under the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and single crochet under the last chain space. Okay, now chain 2, 1, 2, and turn your work. Again, single crochet under the first chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet under the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet under the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet under the last chain space, and again attach the new color, because in every second row we attach our new color. Okay, and now you're gonna start the new row with the gray. So this is how my project looks like. Okay, now once you finish crocheting the total rows needed, we are going to have this big piece over here. Okay, so let me zoom out so you can see it better. So I have a total of 104 stitches in every row. This is how our project looks when we change color in every 2 rows, but we have this thing on the side where you can see the changes of the colors. Do not mind of this because we are going to work 2 rows of single crochet here and 2 rows of single crochet on the other side, so we are going to hide those yarns right here on the side. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do that. Oh, and what I forgot to mention, although I do have it on the chart in the beginning, is the total number of rows for this size are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, a total of 32 rows. Okay, so let's see how we're going to work the 2 rows of single crochet on the sides. Okay, so what we're going to do now, as I mentioned before I turned my video off, we have a total of 32 rows with 104 stitches in each row. Now, in the last row, in the 32nd, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the row, and at the same time I'm going to change color, because with the pink color I'm going to go ahead and work horizontally right here a total of 2 rows of single crochet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have worked my single crochet, my chain 1, put your hook in the last stitch, which is the chain 2, and I'm going to change color. Okay, I'm going to change it to the pink one, and I have cut the gray yarn because I'm not going to need it anymore for this side. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn your work clockwise. So what we are going to be doing now is we're going to crochet 1 single crochet in every first stitch of every row. So in 1 row we are going to be crocheting. The first stitch is going to be the single crochet, so put your hook in the first stitch, which is the one that we just crocheted, and work a single crochet. And the next stitch, the second one, is going to be the chain 2 that I was starting my row with. Okay, so the next row, the first stitch is the chain 2. In the next row, the first stitch is the single crochet. In the next row, the first stitch is the chain 2. So depending on the number of rows that we have 32 rows in this for this size. So because we have 32 rows, I need to get 32 single crochet in the end of the row. So far we have 4 now. 5 on the single crochet, 6 under the chain 2, 7 on the single crochet, 8 on the chain 2, 9 on the single crochet, 10 on the chain 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 11 on the single crochet, 12 on the chain 2, 13 on the single crochet, 14 on the chain 2, 15 on the single crochet, 16 on the chain 2, 17 on the single crochet, 18 on the chain 2, 19 on the single crochet, 20 on the chain 2, 21 on the single crochet, 22 on the chain 2, 23 on the single crochet, 24 on the chain 2, 25 on the single crochet, 26 on the chain 2, 27 on the single crochet, 28 on the chain 2, 29 on the single crochet, 30 on the chain 2, 31 on the single crochet, and 32 on the chain that we worked, that we left in the beginning on. So this is how it looks like at this point. What we're going to do now is we're going to work one more row of single crochet. So chain 1 and turn your work. Starting from the first stitch, we're going to work a total of 32 single crochet again. Starting from the first single crochet, work 1, next stitch 2, next one 3, and keep crocheting up until you have a total of 32 stitches. I've completed crocheting my row. Now chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off. Okay, so we have a total of 2 rows with 32 single crochet each one. Now see how we have hidden the yarn that we were doing the color changing? Okay, so now we started crocheting on this side going downwards. So in the same side, on the same side of the work, but starting from down here, from the bottom going to the top, I want to attach the yarn again. Okay, so grab the yarn, put your hook right on here on the first stitch, attach the yarn, chain 1, put your hook under the same stitch and work a single crochet. Now this first stitch was a single crochet. The next stitch is the chain 2. Next stitch is the single crochet. Next one is the chain 2. Okay, and keep crocheting on the single crochet on the chain 2, going upwards up until you have 32 stitches. Then chain 1, turn the work and work again 32 stitches in the second row. Once I finish crocheting those 2 rows, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to separate the stitches for the hood. I have completed crocheting on both sides, and what I have already done is I have separated my stitches for the hood. So the hood is going to be formed from the one stitch marker to the other. Now, I'm going to explain how I separated my stitches. I have a total of 104 stitches, and I separated a total of 77 for the hood. So I have a result of 27. Now those 27 stitches are the one side and the other side in which I'm not going to crochet into. So those 27 stitches, I'm going to divide them by 2. So on the one side I'm going to need 13 stitches, and on the other side I'm going to need 13 stitches as well. Okay, so let's count those 13 stitches. Starting, let me zoom in so it's easier for you to see. So starting from this first stitch over here, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the chain, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the chain, 11, 12, 13 on the single crochet. But because I can't crochet on the single crochet, I'm going one stitch, I'm adding one more stitch, and I'm putting my stitch marker on the chain 1 space on the 14th stitch. Okay, so let's count on the other side as well. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the chain, 8, 9, 10, 11 on the chain, 12, 13 on the chain 1 space. Okay, so on the one side we hit exactly the 13th stitch is my chain 1 space. On the other side we need to add an extra stitch. Okay, this is why we had a decimal as a result when we divided the 27 by 2. Okay, that's why I added one more stitch over here. So now I'm going to attach the yarn, okay, and I'm going to keep creating the design. Okay, I'm going to be changing colors in every 2 rows. What I'm going to do though is, see here, I finished my row crocheting with the gray here. So this is the good side of the stitches that I'm seeing on this row, on the last row over here. So I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to attach my pink yarn right here on the stitch marker. Okay. So I'm going to take my pink yarn and I'm going to attach it. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put my hook under the chain 1 space to work my single crochet. Chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space. Okay, so we are crocheting in the same exact way we were doing all the previous rows. Now the last single crochet is going to fall right here on the stitch marker over here. Once I crochet in the stitch marker, my last single crochet, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I've completed crocheting my whole row. The last stitch was on the stitch marker. Now from here on, I'm continuing the design on crocheting the rows in the same exact way I was doing the color changing on the whole infinity scarf in the beginning. The only difference is that I'm only crocheting on the stitches that I have separated. So again, as I was doing on the previous rows, I'm going to chain 2 to start my new row. Okay, I am always crocheting on the chain 1 space. The last stitch is going to be right here on the chain space here in the end. And then I'm going to attach my new color in the same exact way as I was doing on the previous rows. So I'm going to continue crocheting the total number of rows I need for the hood. I also have those rows mentioned in the beginning of the video in the chart that I'm giving you. Okay, so once I finish crocheting the total number of rows I need, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to join to close the infinity scarf, how to join the hood, and how to crochet the ears. I have completed crocheting my 48 rows for the hood. Okay, and I'm going to, after the last single crochet, I'm going to chain 1, cut the yarn, and fasten off. Okay, so let me open up the window so we can see what we have so far. Okay, so starting from the bottom, this is the infinity scarf over here, and this is the hood. Okay, So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn our work clockwise, and we are going to crochet 2-3 rows of the rib stitch on the one side of the hood and on the other one, and then we're going to join everything together. Okay, so the same rule applies as when we attached yarn and we crocheted the single crochet over here. The only difference is that because we want to create the rib stitch, we are going to crochet double crochet instead of single crochet. Okay, so let me zoom in so you can see easier the steps that I'm doing. Okay. So I am going to attach my yarn right here on the first single crochet, and I'm going to do my rib stitch with a pink color. Okay, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And those 3 chains count as my first single crochet. Then the next stitch is the chain 2, so I'm going to work 1 double crochet. The next stitch is the single crochet. The next stitch is the chain 2. The next stitch is the single crochet. Next stitch is the chain 2. So keep working 1 double crochet in the first stitch of every row, and because I had 48 rows for this size, that means that I'm going to have 48 double crochet by the end right over here where I joined. Okay, once I finish crocheting my 48 stitches, I'm going to turn my video back on. I have completed crocheting my 48 stitches going downwards, and this is how my work looks like. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to turn our work to work on the other side of the double crochet. Okay, so I have chained 2. Now starting from the first stitch right over here, we're going to work 1 half double crochet. In the next stitch, I'm going to work 1 front post double crochet. So in order to work a front post, put your hook from the front to the back on the right side of the stitch and bring it out on the front again on the left side and work a double crochet. In the next stitch, in order to work a back post double crochet, put your hook from the back to the front on the right side of the stitch and take it out to the back again on the left side, so you're pulling backwards the stitch, and work a double crochet. Okay, so the next stitch is a front post, the next stitch is a back post double crochet, the next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, the next stitch is going to be a back post double crochet, the next stitch is going to be a front post. Okay, so keep working 1 front post, 1 back post up until you reach the second before last stitch of the row. The last stitch is a chain 3 that we started the row with, in which I'm going to turn my video back on to crochet on the last stitch together and to start the second row of the rib stitch. I'm almost done crocheting my row. The last double crochet was a back post double crochet. Now I'm going to put my hook in the last stitch, which is the chain 3, so counting from the bottom to the top, put your hook in that third chain and work 1 half double crochet in the end of the row. Now chain 2 and turn your work. And the reason that we're working a half double crochet in the beginning and in the end of each row is because I cannot work a front post or a back post in the first stitch. So this is why I always work 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, Now, in all the stitches that we'll follow, I want to keep the same direction that they have. And what I mean by saying that, the last stitch right here was a back post double crochet. But when I turn my work, this back post becomes a front post. So if this is a front post, the next stitch is a back post, a front post, a back post, a front post, and so on. Okay, so my first stitch is a front post double crochet, and I want to be careful to be putting my hook in the right space. So open up your stitches, and this right here is your first stitch, and it's a front post double crochet. Now the back posts are not visible at all, so make sure you open up the stitches and you work your back post double crochet. The next stitch is a front post double crochet. Next stitch is a back post double crochet. So keep working one front post, one back post up until you finish the row, where the last stitch is going to be a back post double crochet right over here, and the last stitch of the row is 1/2 double crochet in this stitch over here. Once I finish crocheting the third row of the rib stitch, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed crocheting the whole row. I have worked my 1/2 double crochet. So what we're going to do now is chain 1, cut the yarn, and fasten off. Okay, so now let me zoom out. So we only need 3 rows for the rib stitch right here on the side. The one row is the one that we join the yarn, and the other 2 where we work the front posts and the back posts. So this is how it looks like. Now, because we joined the yarn on this side and we started going from the bottom to the top, I want to join the yarn on the same side as well. But because we always work from right to left, okay, I'm going to turn my work counterclockwise, and I'm going to start down here from the bottom going to the top. So let me zoom in so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to join my yarn right here in the first row on the single crochet. So take the yarn and bring it under the stitch and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Those 3 chains we said count as my first double crochet. Now the next stitch is a chain 2, so 1 double crochet. Double crochet under the single crochet. Double crochet under the chain 2. Okay, so I have 4 stitches so far. So keep crocheting in the same exact way up until you reach the end right over here, which is a chain 2 space, my last stitch, and it's going to be the 48th stitch. Then chain 2, turn your work 1/2 double crochet in the first stitch, in front post, back post, front post, back post, and so on. I'm going to do all of the 3 rows off camera. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how it looks at that point. Sorry, how it looks at that point, and how we're going to start joining our hoodie scarf together. I have completed crocheting my 3 rows. Now, because I was rushing, I cut off my yarn. Okay, do not cut your yarn, and continue the steps that I mentioned, okay, without having your yarn cut. But because I cut mine, I have, after my 1/2 double crochet, I'm going to chain 1 and fasten off. What you're going to do is you're going to chain 1 with your yarn, and you're going to follow the steps that we are going to do now together. Okay, so what we're going to do now, let me zoom out so you can see what we're doing. So this is what we have so far, okay, the rib stitch on the one side and on the other side, and this is the side that we joined for both sides. Okay, so this is the good side of my stitches. Now, because this is the good side, okay, I'm looking at the good side of my stitches, I'm going to fold in half, and now I'm seeing the wrong side of the first row and the wrong side of the first row on the other side as well. And turn so you have your rib stitch on your right side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start joining up here, and we're going to join from going outwards. We're going to join outwards, going inwards, back here. So I'm going to attach my yarn from the beginning, but as we mentioned earlier, you are just going to chain one and do the steps that I'm doing over here. So I'm going to put my hook under the first half double crochet, under the first half double crochet on the back side, and I'm going to join and chain one. Now put your hook under the first double crochet of the second row and the first half double crochet of the second row on the back side as well, and work a slip stitch. Now put your hook under the double crochet on the front piece, under the double crochet on the back piece, and work a slip stitch. Now we're going to start joining the single crochet. So put your hook on the first single crochet on the front piece and the first single crochet on the back piece, and join by slip stitching. Under the chain one on the front piece, under the chain one on the back piece, and slip stitch. Under the in the single crochet on the front piece, in the single crochet on the back piece, and slip stitch. Under the chain one on the front piece, under the chain one on the back piece, and slip stitch. Okay, so this is how we're going to join for the hood up here. And this is how we always join when we want to crochet hoods. We work one row of single crochet up here, and the last stitches that I'm going to join are right over here in the end to close right here the corner. Now if you turn on the good side, and you can see the pink yarn over here, okay, in your last rows of the moss stitch were with the gray yarn, and you can see the pink yarn, the slip stitches, you can just go ahead and switch to your gray yarn to work your slip stitches. So I'm going to finish joining off camera. Once I reach right over here at the end, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to join down here the infinity scarf. I have completed working my slip stitches across, and I'm going to chain one, cut the yarn, and fasten off. Okay, so this is how my slip stitches look on the wrong side. Let me zoom out so you can see better how it looks at this point. And this is how it looks on the good side. Okay, see how nice it looks. And if you stretch out, you can see a little bit the pink slip stitches on the inside, but I kind of like it because it kind of looks like a design, okay? But you can only see it if you stretch it out. If it's like this, it looks perfectly fine. Now we are on the good side, so I'm turning back on the wrong side, and we are going to close down here for the infinity scarf. So I'm folding in half right over here, and I'm going to start joining, going from the bottom to the top, and I'm on the wrong side of my project. So I'm cutting a kind of long piece of yarn in pink color because the side pieces over here are pink. Okay, and I'm going to start joining by sewing the two pieces together. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put my needle from the bottom to the top on the first single crochet on the right side, and from the bottom to the top of the first single crochet of the left side. Okay, and I'm going to join them together. Now I'm going back on the right side, and I'm going to put my needle from the bottom to the top of the second stitch, and on the left side from the bottom to the top of the second single crochet as well. Now on the left side, on the third stitch from the bottom to the top, sorry, on the right side, and then on the left side from the bottom to the top of the third stitch as well. Now back to the right side from the bottom to the top on the fourth stitch, and back to the left side from the bottom to the top of the fourth stitch as well. So now that I have worked a few stitches, I'm going to hold my corner and tighten up. Okay, now go ahead and keep sewing from the right to the left, right, left, right, left, each stitch together, and always going from the bottom to the top. And we want to sew together the same stitch on the right side to the same stitch of the left side. Once I reach up here on the top, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed sewing going from the bottom to the top, and look how perfect my scheme looks. And this is called the invisible scheme, the invisible sewing when you crochet the way that we sewed the two sides together. Okay, this is the one side and this is the other side. This is the good side. Look how perfect it looks. Now what we need to do is to make 1 or 2 knots up here. Sorry. So make a knot, okay, and go ahead and weave in your end down here on the loops on the wrong side of your project. Once you do that, this is what we have as a result so far. So I'm turning the inside out. And this is what we have as a result so far, okay? Now what we're left to do is to work 1 or 2 rows with the rib stitch down here in the end, and then work ears to attach them over here to make it look nicer for a kid to wear, okay? And we can attach the ears either we're crocheting for a boy or a girl. So let's see how to do that. Okay, so now that we have completed attaching over here, I have weaved in my ends right here on the back. What we're going to do now is we're going to work a rib stitch down here. So I'm going to turn my work on the back. I'm still on the good side, okay, and I want the bottom part to be on top now, so I'm able to crochet. So you can leave it as it is if you like it this way, but I really like to have 1 or 2 rows with the rib stitch down here as well. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. And we are crocheting down here on the chains that we worked in the beginning of our project. So in the one stitch, in the one chain, I do not have crocheted anything into because we were always skipping one chain. In the next chain we have the single crochet. The next chain is a blank one. The next one is a single crochet. The next one, and the next is single crochet. So I'm putting my hook in every single chain in order to crochet, okay? So put your hook somewhere in the center. You don't have to count your stitches. So take the yarn and pull it through the chain and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now those 3 chains count as 1 double crochet. So put your hook in the next stitch, in the next chain, and work a double crochet. The next chain, which is a blank one, work 1 double crochet. The next one, which I have a single crochet, work a double crochet. The next one is a blank one, so work a double crochet. Next one, work 1 double crochet. Next chain, next chain, work a double crochet. So keep working 1 double crochet in every single chain, and on the one that they're blank, that we haven't crocheted anything into, also in the one that we have worked the single crochet in the first row. So keep working 1 double crochet in every stitch, and once I reach right here in the front where we have worked the rows with the single crochet over here, the one that we just joined, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to crochet on this spot over here, and then we are going to continue off camera. I've reached the spot that I mentioned before I turned my video off, and sorry if you're hearing weird sounds, but it's really pouring outside. Okay, so let's see how to continue. Now, right here in the center, we have a total of 4 rows of single crochet. 2 that we worked on the one side and the 2 that we worked on the other side. So I want to work 1 double crochet on top of each, on the first single crochet of every row. So here we go, 1, next row, 2, next one, 3, and the last one right here, 4. And I'm going to keep crocheting in the same exact way as I was doing so far. Next stitch is the chain 1, okay, the blank stitch that I was mentioning earlier. The next stitch is the chain that I have worked my single crochet. Next stitch is the blank one, the chain 1, then the one with the single crochet, and keep working 1 double crochet in every chain up until you reach your last chain over here. Once I reach this spot, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to close the first row of the rib stitch and how to start the second one. I have completed crocheting 1 stitch all around and have a total of 108 double crochet. The 104 are the stitches that I had in the rows with the moss stitch, if you recall, and the other 4 are the 4 stitches that I added right here by crocheting on the rows of single crochet that we worked here on the front. Okay, now we're going to close the first row of the rib stitch by working a slip stitch on the first double crochet, which is the chain 3, so counting from the bottom to the top on the 3rd chain. I'm going to work a slip stitch and then chain 2. Do not turn your work, we are crocheting in the same direction, and we're going to work 1 front post, 1 back post in the same exact way we did on the hood. Okay, so the first stitch is a front post double crochet. Second stitch is a back post double crochet. Next stitch is a front post double crochet. The next stitch is a back post double crochet. So keep working 1 front post, 1 back post up until you finish the row. This right here is going to be my last stitch, which is either going to be a front post or a back post. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed working my front posts and my back posts all around. The last stitch was a front post double crochet. So now I'm going to put my hook on the 2nd chain, counting from the bottom to the top, and I'm going to work a slip stitch to close my row, chain 2, and I'm going to go ahead and work 1 more row for the rib stitch. So my first stitch was a front post, so again I'm going to work a front post double crochet. The second stitch was a back post, but because we cannot see the stitches, just pull up the stitch so it's easier for you to see where to put your hook to crochet your back post double crochet. Next stitch is a front post, so I keep working a front post double crochet. The next stitch is a back post. So keep working 1 front post, 1 back post all around again. Once I reach my last stitch, in which I'm going to work a front post double crochet, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to close the rib stitch and how to crochet the ears. I have completed crocheting all around, and I'm going to close by working a slip stitch in the 2nd chain out of the 2 that I was working in the beginning of the row. Okay, so slip stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off. So this is how our project looks like at this point. Okay, from the bottom going to the top, and right over here you can go ahead and sew buttons if you like. Now what we're going to do is we are going to see how to crochet ears. So we are going to attach them right here on the front of the hood over here. Okay, so let's see how we are going to crochet them, and they're very easy, and you can not just only attach them on the hood, you can attach them on crochet hats or beanies that you're making for any children or even adult size. So let's see how to crochet the ears. Okay, so now let's see how to crochet our ears, and I'm using double strand of the gray yarn because I made the rib stitch and everything else with pink, so I'm making the ears gray, and I'm still crocheting with a 4mm crochet hook because I want my ears to be nice and thick in order for them not to fall down on the hood. So I'm going to start with my magic circle. If you do not know how to work the magic circle, you can chain 4. And whatever I work in the center of my magic circle, you're going to work in the center of the ring that you're going to work from the 4 chains, slip stitch in the first one to make a ring. Okay, whatever I work in my ring, you're going to work in the ring of your chains, the same exact stitches. So in order to work the magic circle, turn the yarn around your 2 fingers once and bring it on the top left. Put your hook under the right yarn and over the left one. Bring the left yarn over, turn your hook around once to make a loop, grab the left yarn and pull it through the loop. So I secured my magic circle and I have also worked my first chain. Now I'm going to work 2 more, and those 3 chains in the beginning are my first double crochet, and I need 5 more in order to have a total of 6. So this is my first, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So pull the yarn that you started the magic circle with and pull it tight, and right here I have a semicircle. Okay, now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and those 2 chains count as my first double crochet. So instead of working 3 chains, which really are the double crochet, I'm only chaining 2 just in order to avoid the gap that the 3 chains make. So chain 2, turn your work, and we are going to work an increase in every stitch. So 2 double crochet in every stitch, and in the end of this row we're going to have 12 double crochet. So this is the first one that I just worked, and 1 more double crochet in the first stitch. So 2, next stitch, 3, same stitch, 4, next stitch, 5, same stitch, 6, next stitch, 7, same stitch, 8, next stitch, 9, same stitch, 10, and my last stitch are the 3 chains, so counting from the bottom to the top, put your hook in that 3rd chain and work the last 2 double crochet for this row, 11 and 12. So this is how my work looks like at this point. Now we're going to start the 3rd row again by chaining 2, which is my first double crochet. Turn your work, and in the very same stitch, in the first stitch, work 1 more double crochet. Now we're going to be working increases in every 2nd stitch. So in the next stitch I'm only going to work 1 double crochet. In the next stitch work 2 double crochet, 1, same stitch, 2. In the next stitch I'm going to work 1 double crochet. In the next stitch I'm going to work an increase, 1, same stitch, 2. In the next stitch I'm going to work 1 double crochet. In the next stitch I'm going to work an increase, 1, same stitch, 2. Next stitch 1 double crochet, next stitch 2, 1 and 2, next stitch 1 double crochet, next stitch 2, 1, 2, and in the last stitch, which is the chain 2, right here on the second chain, go ahead and work only 1 double crochet. So this is what we have so far. See how our semicircle looks? Now what we're going to do, in order to make our ears to curve in, we're going to work one last row with 1 single crochet in every stitch. So by not working any increases, the ear is going to curve in. Okay, so let's see how to do it. Chain 1, turn your work, starting from the first stitch, work 1 single crochet in every stitch. And be careful, I just missed my 1 strand of yarn. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and the last stitch, which is the chain 2, so right there in the second chain, work your 18th stitch. Chain 1. Now the 1 strand, you're going to cut it shorter to weave it in. The second strand, you're going to cut it pretty long because we're going to use it to sew the ear on our hood. Now right here, the yarn, the strands that are coming out from the magic circle, see how they're coming out on the right side? We are going to weave it in on the loops of the double crochet 2 times around, just to make sure that we are securing the magic circle enough so it doesn't come out later on as you wear your project. Okay, so we need 2 ears, and now we're going to see how to attach them on our project. Now that we've completed crocheting both of our ears, we want to go ahead and attach them. See, right here is the skein where we joined. I want to attach it a little to the left. I don't want to attach it right on the skein, just go a little to the left and not right on the rib stitch, a little to the back over here. And what I want to do is I want to sew on both sides, and on the front and on the back. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be grabbing a loop from the ear and a loop from the hood, from the ear, from the hood, from the ear, from the hood, and I'm going to sew. And as I go a few stitches, I'm going to be grabbing the corner of the ear and pull tight to tighten up the stitches that you're sewing. So keep sewing up until the end, right here in the last single crochet. Once you finish sewing up until the last single crochet, turn the work and start sewing the back loops of the stitches on your project. So the back loop, okay, grab the loop and a loop from your hood, a loop from the ear, from the hood. Okay, so keep sewing. Once you reach the last stitch, pull the yarn so you're pulling to tighten up the stitches on the project. This way you're not going to be seeing the sewn stitches on the project, and that not look really nice. Okay, so make sure you tighten up, so you're tightening all of your stitches always by holding the corner, because if you don't hold your corner, your ear is going to shrink like this and it's not going to look nice. So once I finish sewing both of my ears, I'm going to turn my video back on, okay? And by sewing the front loops and the back loops, you're pulling the ear forwards, you're also pulling the ear backwards, and this way the ear is standing straight. Once I crochet both of my ears off camera, I'm going to go ahead and sew 2 or 3 buttons over here, maybe wooden ones, okay, as a decoration. I don't have to show that off on the video. You can go ahead and sew buttons on here if you'd like. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how our hoodie scarf looks completed. I have completed crocheting my hooded scarf. I have attached the ears and look how nice they look. And see here in the bottom you cannot see the yarn that I sewed the ears, and this is because I always grab the top loop of the single crochet that I was working in order to sew it. Okay, now in the end I worked a few knots here in the end, and then I weaved in the ends right here in the back loops of the double crochet, and this is how it looks completed. Okay, and let's see it from the bottom going to the top. This is a very nice project, not only for kids but for adults as well. This is why in the chart in the beginning of the video I'm giving you from 1 year old to a men's size. Okay, you can take out the ears, you can make it in any colors that you want, so this is suitable for everyone. Okay, it's super warm. This is how it looks in the back. Okay, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. Thanks again. Bye bye.